Today we are going to read another poem that emphasizes metaphors and similes. It is called Hope is the Thing with Feathers. And it is by Emily Dickinson, one of the first American poets of note. So, remember yesterday when I said stop everything and do the quick write? Same thing goes today. I want you to stop this video, okay? And I want you to do this quick write right here about overcoming adversity. When faced with great obstacles, how do people overcome adversity? Use evidence from your own observations and experiences. Type your answer below. So adversity, when you come up against something that's really, really hard, really, really difficult, something that's extremely challenging, how do you overcome it? Stop the ed puzzle. Do the question. All right, hopefully you've done your quick write. We're going to look at a little about Emily Dickinson. So here is a picture of Miss Dickinson. If you want to know more about her, just click here, go to the Poetry Foundation. You can find out all kinds of information about Emily Dickinson. So she lived from 1830 to 1886. She lived to be 56 years old, and she lived in the 1800s, or what we call the 19th century. She's considered one of the most innovative American poets of all time because her work helped change and shape the way poetry was written. So there are a couple things that are really recognizable about her poems. One is her use of grammar and punctuation, which was very out of the ordinary for the time it was being written. And the other is that it's told from a persona in the first person. Okay, so when you have a speaker to one of Dickinson's poems, it's not necessarily Emily Dickinson speaking, but she writes everything from the first person point of view. Okay, so a persona is when you kind of invent a character and write as if you are that person. That's a persona. So her stuff is written in first person. So only 10 of her poems were actually published during her lifetime. She has like hundreds of poems, but only 10 of them actually got published while she was alive. She was really reclusive and spent most of her time in her family home. She was very educated and went to school, like at fancy schools and stuff, through her teenage years, and then she just came home and just lived on the family estate forever and ever and ever again, and hardly ever went anywhere. And her poems were so unique at the time that she wrote them that she was often criticized for her unconventional use of grammar and punctuation. So you'll see when we look at this poem that she uses a lot of dashes. She uses a lot of like capital letters when you wouldn't normally need them, things like that. So when I see an Emily Dickinson poem, I know it's Emily Dickinson because I've read a lot of her poems and she's very distinct. So here are the literary devices that we need to know today. Repeating yesterday, you want to be able to recognize the theme. What is the underlying message? Okay, what is the author trying to tell us? What's the subject and the so what? She's not going to tell us directly. Okay, what is the poem about and what is she saying about that subject? That will be our theme. Our second term today is extended metaphor. So we know that a metaphor, like baby, you're a firework, is a comparison of two unlike things using like or as. An extended metaphor is when you take that one metaphor and you develop it through the entire course of a poem, story, or work of literature. You can learn more about extended metaphor here if you care to click. So really, what you're going to see here is that she takes a metaphor of a bird and she carries it throughout the entire poem from beginning to end. And finally, a symbol. Again, if you need more information, go ahead and click here. A symbol is an image or object that represents something else, usually something that is much larger or more complex. For example, the American flag is a symbol. Okay, it symbolizes what America represents. So for some people, that might be different from somebody else's. Symbols can be interpreted in many different ways. So maybe for some people, this American flag that's actually above my head here in the classroom is, about freedom and liberty and going and fighting for, whatever, guns, America, all right? And maybe for other people, it doesn't quite mean the same thing. It just depends on your perspective and your experience, okay? So symbols, when we say, well, this could symbolize, we need to make sure that we're backing that up with evidence from the text, because sometimes people can interpret symbols in different ways. So that's why you math people hate English so much, because there is sometimes not a black and white answer, okay? So your activity for today, you're going to read Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson on Common Lit. Make sure you are signed into Common Lit and make sure that you are signing in with Google. So I will show you like I did yesterday. Hopefully you all did this yesterday, so you don't need to worry about it again because you're already connected. But you're going to click, okay? Here, let me try this again, because I want you to see what it looks like when I am not already logged in. So when I look up here, I see that it says log in. So I know that I am not logged in right now, all right? If I'm not logged in, it's not going to save my work. I'm not going to be able to do the assessments. Ms. Todd can't grade anything, all right? So you're going to click log in, and you're going to log in with Google. Click there. Choose your Horizon account. And then it will take you to your assignments. If you are not logging in with Google, you will not be able to see your assignments. Okay? So, as I went through this list of people yesterday, same list of people. For some reason, your Google Classroom is not syncing with Common Lit for me. Ariana, Corbin, Julian, Damien, Kenzie, Skylit. So if you were not able to connect yourself yesterday in yesterday's assignment, then you need to use the class code, follow these directions to get yourself connected, okay? And you can always contact me if you need help. But the class code, it's going to ask you for a class code that is YRG88L. It's right here in the directions. All right, so I don't want to hear anybody saying, but I couldn't log in, because I told you how, and I told you to call me for help if you needed it. So again, this is in guided reading mode, so you have to answer the guided reading questions before you can read on. Again, you can choose the read aloud option if you would like it. If you like to hear things, okay, you can read along. Click this little guy here.
Hope is the Thing with Feathers, 254, by Emily Dickinson, 1891. Emily Dickinson, 1830 to 18...
Okay, so it highlights where it's reading, and you can read along and hear it as well as see it. All right? And just like yesterday, when you see these little footnotes here, click on them, because it helps give you more information and helps you understand what the poem means. Click on them, click on them, click on them. It's a super short poem. 3 stanzas, 1, 2, 3. 12 lines, that's it. But there's a lot there. So keep rereading it until it makes more sense. We never read a poem just once. When you finish reading the poem, you're going to go to the assessment questions. Again, there are 5 questions. The first 4 are multiple choice. And when you get to, actually, 5 of them are multiple choice. Well, look at that. I didn't even realize there's not an essay on this one. How lucky are you today? So lucky. So lucky. So I'll just erase this part here because there's not a writing prompt question on there. Okay? Yay. After you finish the assessment, come back here to this slideshow, go to the last slide, number 6, and complete the exit ticket. So this is where you're actually going to have to write. When you're finished with this assignment, answer the following question. How do the descriptions of nature in Hope is the Thing with Feathers connect to the idea of overcoming adversity? In the comparison of hope is the comparison of hope to a bird effective? Why or why not? Type your answer below. So here's where you're using races. Okay? How are the descriptions of nature, how do they connect with the idea of overcoming adversity? And there you have it. So I got you done in 10 minutes today. Woohoo! When you are finished, go up here where you have a button that says turn it in, and move on with the rest of your day. And if you have any questions, let me know. Tomorrow is a CATS assessment. So make sure that you've done your study island until you have gotten 70% and a blue ribbon so that you can do really, really well on the CATS tomorrow. Bye.